If you ask me how I should start, I'll probably say I have no idea. I've been wanting to do this for so long, kept pushing that nudge away, but I really had to do this. Hello family, welcome to my YouTube channel, Real Shelf with Tea. I want you all to know this is a safe space where we get to listen and learn from real life experiences, share Bible scriptures, encourage ourselves, focus on personal development, and have real talks to help you become the best version of yourself. I am just a girl in her 20s, figuring life out and growing deeper in God's love. My life is a testament that God is good, and that's something I want to share with each and every one of you who has found your way to this channel. You see, growing up, it was more like I had it all scripted and planned out. I thought I knew exactly where my life was headed, what I wanted to achieve, and how I was going to get there. But as I experienced life second by second, moment by moment, that script which was my compass slowly lost its value, and I got lost. I realized that I was doing life without God. I was so engrossed in the fact that I never wanted to turn out like my parents that I forgot the most important relationship of all. My script, the one I had written for myself, could never work out perfectly because there was already a script written back in the days, even before I was born, and that script is the Bible. As Acts 17:28 tells us, "For in him we live and move, and have our being." I was lost and had to find my way back to the source. And when I did, it began to make sense. I saw the light. Let me tell you a bit about who I am and where I come from, because I believe our stories matter. I am a girl who was raised by a single mom, a woman who had to grow faster than her age should have required. I am a girl who saw love to be terrifying, someone who didn't grow up in a family that took God seriously. I might be grown now, but that little girl child is still in me, and she's part of my story too. My experiences, both the beautiful and the painful ones, have made me a better person, and I believe they've also equipped me to speak into your life today. Growing up with a single mother meant witnessing strength in ways that most children don't get to see. My mom was everything. She was the provider, the protector, the disciplinarian, and the comforter all rolled into one. She had to make decisions that most people make as a team, and she had to carry burdens that were meant to be shared. Watching her navigate life with such grace and determination taught me about resilience, but it also taught me about the weight of responsibility that sometimes falls on us earlier than we expect. Having to grow faster than my age meant that I missed out on some of the carefree moments that childhood should offer. I found myself thinking about adult problems, worrying about things that children shouldn't have to worry about, and making decisions that required a maturity I wasn't sure I possessed. This accelerated growth shaped me in ways that I'm still discovering today. It made me independent, yes, but it also made me guarded. It made me strong, but it also made me afraid to be vulnerable. Love, for me, became something terrifying rather than something beautiful. When you grow up watching relationships crumble, when you see the person you love most in the world hurt by love, it's natural to develop a fear of that very thing that's supposed to bring joy. I associated love with pain, with disappointment, with the potential for abandonment. This fear followed me into my teenage years and into early adulthood, affecting how I related to others and how I allowed others to relate to me. The fact that I didn't grow up in a family that took God seriously meant that my relationship with Him was something I had to discover on my own. There were no family devotions, no regular church attendance, no conversations about faith around the dinner table. God wasn't a central figure in our household, and so when I needed Him most, I didn't know how to find Him. I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to read the Bible, and I didn't know how to trust in something I couldn't see. But here's what I've learned. God doesn't need perfect circumstances to reach us. He doesn't need us to grow up in Christian homes or to have all the right religious training. He meets us exactly where we are, in our mess, in our confusion, in our brokenness. And that's exactly what He did for me. The turning point came when I realized that my carefully crafted script for life wasn't working. I had planned out my education, my career, my relationships, even my timeline for major life events. I thought that if I could just control enough variables, If I could just work hard enough and be smart enough, I could avoid the pitfalls that I had seen others fall into. But life has a way of humbling us, doesn't it? It has a way of showing us that we're not as in control as we think we are. When my script began to fail, when things didn't go according to my plan, I felt lost in a way that I had never experienced before. It was like being in a foreign country without a map, without a compass, without any sense of direction. The goals I had set for myself suddenly seemed meaningless, and the path I thought I was supposed to be on became unclear. This was one of the darkest periods of my life, but it was also the most necessary. It was during this time of lostness that I began to see God in a real way. Not just as a cultural tradition or a safety net for when things got really bad, but as the actual foundation for my life. I started reading the Bible, not just as a book of stories, but as a living document that had something to say to me personally. I started praying, not just when I was in trouble, but as a regular conversation with the one who created me and knew me better than I knew myself. The scripture that became particularly meaningful to me during this time was Acts 17:28, which says, "For in him we live and move and have our being." This verse helped me understand that my life wasn't meant to be lived independently of God. Every breath I take, every step I make, every decision I face, all of it happens within the context of His love and His plan for my life. I wasn't meant to be the author of my own story. I was meant to be a character in His much bigger, much more beautiful story. Finding my way back to the source wasn't an overnight transformation. It was a gradual process of learning to trust, learning to surrender, learning to see my life through God's eyes rather than my own limited perspective. It meant acknowledging that my plans, while well-intentioned, were based on my own understanding, which was incomplete. It meant admitting that I needed guidance, that I needed a love that was bigger than my fear, that I needed a purpose that was greater than my own ambitions. As I began to align my life with God's will, things started to make sense in ways they never had before. The pain from my childhood began to have purpose. I could see how it had developed compassion in me for others who were hurting. The fear I had carried about love began to dissolve as I experienced God's perfect love, which casts out all fear. The independence I had developed out of necessity became a strength that I could use to help others who were struggling to find their way. I saw the light, and that light changed everything. It didn't mean that my life became perfect or that I stopped facing challenges. It meant that I now had a foundation that couldn't be shaken, a source of strength that never runs dry, and a purpose that gives meaning to every experience. Whether pleasant or painful, the little girl in me, the one who had to grow up too fast, the one who was afraid of love, the one who didn't know God, she's still part of who I am. But now she's not defined by her wounds. She's defined by her healing. She's not defined by what she lacked. She's defined by what she's been given. She's not defined by her fear. She's defined by her faith. This is why I've started this channel, because I believe that our stories matter. I believe that when we share our journeys authentically, when we're honest about our struggles and our victories, we create space for others to find hope in their own stories. I believe that God uses our experiences, all of them, to help others who are walking similar paths. Real Shelf with Tea is about getting real about life. It's about acknowledging that we're all works in progress, that we're all figuring things out as we go, and that it's okay to not have all the answers. It's about creating a community where we can learn from each other, where we can share biblical truths that have made a difference in our lives, and where we can encourage each other to keep growing. Personal development, for me, isn't about becoming someone completely different. It's about becoming more fully who God created me to be. It's about healing from the wounds of the past while learning from the lessons they taught me. It's about growing in wisdom, in love, in faith, and in purpose. It's about recognizing that the journey of becoming is just as important as the destination. The real talks we'll have on this channel will be honest conversations about the things that matter most. We'll talk about relationships, about career decisions, about family dynamics, about mental health, about spiritual growth, about finding purpose, about overcoming obstacles, and about celebrating victories. We'll share Bible scriptures that have brought comfort, guidance, and transformation, and we'll explore how these ancient words still speak powerfully into our modern lives. My experiences have made me a better person, and I believe they've also equipped me to help others on their own journeys. The single mother household that taught me about strength, the accelerated growth that taught me about resilience, the fear of love that taught me about the power of healing, the lack of early spiritual foundation that taught me about the importance of seeking God for myself. All of these experiences have become tools in my toolkit for helping others. As we continue this journey together, I want you to know that you're not alone. Whether you're in your 20s like me, figuring things out and growing deeper in God's love, or whether you're in a different season of life facing your own unique challenges, there's a place for you here. Whether you grew up in a Christian home or you're just discovering faith for the first time, whether you feel like you have your life together or you feel completely lost, you belong in this community. Your story matters. Your struggles matter. Your victories matter. Your questions matter. Your growth matters. And most importantly, you matter to God. He has a plan for your life that's more beautiful than anything you could script for yourself. And He's willing to meet you exactly where you are to begin revealing that plan to you. So family, thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart with you and for trusting me with your time and attention. I pray that something in my story has resonated with you, that you've found hope in the midst of your own journey, and that you'll stick around as we continue to explore what it means to live authentically in God's love. Remember to like this video if it blessed you, subscribe to the channel if you want to be part of this growing community, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our real talks. Share your own story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how God is working in your life and what you're learning on your own journey of faith and self-discovery. Until next time, keep growing, keep trusting, and keep remembering that your life is a testament to God's goodness. God bless you, family.